I thought it would be fun for us to make a Christmas arrangement with all sorts of different Christmas greens. I love Christmas arrangements, and I think that they're great to have around the house. Actually, today I'm making it for a friend of mine. Her name is Kim Carson. She's fabulous. Any of you who live in Grand Rapids, Michigan know Kim Carson from being on the radio. But also, if you watch Life in Bloom, she is the beautiful voice at the beginning of the show that says, Jay Schwanke's Life in Bloom, and welcomes you to the show. And she's just such a great friend and just such a wonderful person. And she happens to be up here in Grand Rapids for the holidays. And so I used to go surprise her all the time. I would just take flowers down to the station where she would be on the radio and give them to her. And so I thought, oh, today's a great day to do that too. So, and I thought, let's talk about Christmas evergreens. Let's talk about creating a Christmas evergreen arrangement. And that will be great information for you as well. So today I have my vase. It's a lime green vase. I love lime green for Christmas because I think it makes the other colors bubble up. It's an acid green color, and it makes those other colors around it look more vibrant. I'm crazy about red carnations, one of my favorite things in the whole world. And so red carnations are going to be in this. We're going to use some peppermint carnations, a couple other things too, I think, which are great. But I just want to give you an idea of how you can create these beautiful arrangements, because the other cool thing about having Christmas evergreen in a vase for the holidays, you can add flowers, and the flowers may expire, so you can pull them out, put in new ones, and you've refreshed your whole arrangement. So it's really great. Plus, many of us have a permanent tree. I have a permanent tree. I have two, actually. So I have a permanent one that looks like evergreen, and I also have a fabulous mid-century silver tinsel tree. And I have one of those too. So, and this year I put up the evergreen tree, but I don't have evergreen smell that comes along with it. So fresh evergreen does that for us. And so we're going to talk about the different kinds of evergreen today, and we're going to use them in this arrangement. And then we'll add our flowers and things like that too. So as you know, I filled the vase with ice cold water, and I have added my Kreisel Professional 3. So Professional 3 is still great. One of the great things about it too is that the Professional 3 is going to help control bacteria growth. And that's really important too. One of the 5 things that a flower food does is it controls bacteria. It makes the pH the right level. It gives sugar to the flowers to make them grow and open and blossom better. And it has a vasodilator in it. So, there's all sorts of cool things that go on. And a surfactant, the 5th thing, the surfactant, to help the water have less tensile strength, so it will go up the flower stems easier. Those are the secrets. And that's why it works so well. So we're going to do that. We're going to work on our turntable today. My matching dram tools to match my shirt. We're going to use the bypass cutter. We're also going to use the compact pruner, and I'm going to be using my knife a little bit too, because I want to show you a little technique I have with a couple of the evergreens. And then I'm so excited because it's just going to smell so good when we work with these things. So we're going to create our structure first in our container, and that's going to help hold our flowers in place. Okay, so we are going to start with our biggest one. This is silver fir. Okay, silver fir is so named because the back of it looks silver. Okay, as opposed to noble fir, which looks like this, and it's the same color on the back. Okay, noble fir is kind of a bluish green, and it's bluish green on front and back. Silver fir is very shiny on the front, and it's got a silver back. Silver fir, I don't know if I can pick. I love silver fir though. Silver fir is really good. And the fragrance of it is really good too. So what we're going to do is we're going to trim these pieces because I want a tall piece in the back. So then what you're going to see is I've cleaned off that stem. Now, and I've got these little extra pieces. Now remember, when you have extras, save those, because you might want to set them around a vase on the table, or put them around, your nativity set, or whatever it is that you're going to decorate with. I think that's a great thing. So save those little pieces. They're not going to be helpful in here, but we're going to need them later on. Now, here's why I told you I wanted to show you the knife. What I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to use this knife to cut away the evergreen that would fall under the water line, okay? Because just like any other foliage, we have to make sure that we get rid of any of that foliage that's going to fall below the water line. And so, because it's just going to create nastiness in our water, and that's not good. Okay, so we've pulled that away. Now, the other beauty of this, the other thing I love is right now it smells like Christmas heaven, right? Because we've got that beautiful smell of Christmas evergreen going on. And I think it's great. So, okay, so I've got a couple other pieces here. This little piece, I'm going to save this piece for another project. And I'm choking on my own spit. So here, we're going to have some coffee. Okay, there we go. So again, being able to trim that away is important. And this is going on the, some of this is going on the floor. So that's another thing that you might want to think about. Typically I make my Christmas arrangements in the garage or outside because they can make a real mess. But we're going to have a solution for that. I love it when my hands get covered with sap. I think that's the best thing in the whole world because I think I've mentioned that to you before then. When I'm like laying on my pillow at night, I can smell the sap on my hands. And that's really wonderful. But you're going to want to sweep up any of these needles that you get on the floor because that's going to be important. Okay, I'm going to save those little guys for a little bit later because I got my big tall one in there. Let's go with our beautiful noble fir. Again, same method. I'm just going to take this and I want to strip it away. Now, the interesting thing too is that the noble fir smells different than the silver fir. I know, it's crazy, right? They all smell a little bit different and have different scents and fragrances on them. So I think that that's important, that you know that you're going to have different fragrances of different things. Noble fir, for some reason, always reminds me of my grandma. My grandma Schwanke. She liked noble fir. My dad would make centerpieces for her house, and I think that was always pretty cool. So the next one we're going to use, this is a cedar. One of the things I like about cedar is I think that cedar smells like apples. I don't know why. That's just my opinion, but it smells like apples and Christmas evergreen. So I get a great feeling about that. And I don't want that guy to fall down inside. So I'm going to hold him out for a sec because I don't want him to get all down inside there. Okay. Now look at how that starts to drape. The cedar acts differently than the other ones because it's more of a drapey type foliage. So I'm going to hold a couple pieces of that over here for some topping because we talk about the topping. As we add all of our flowers into this, it's going to push down, push down, push down, and then we're going to want to have some things on the top. Okay? Next, juniper. So I think I've talked to you before about juniper. The cool thing about juniper is used to make gin. And it kind of smells like gin. Okay? Has that gin fragrance to it. And the thing I love about it is that it has these little blue berries on it. And I think that that's ultra pretty and very cool. And then, since we're talking about blue coloration, let's bring in a little bit of our Carolina sapphire. We have a whole video up here about Carolina sapphire if you want to check that out on the YouTube channel. But also, the Carolina sapphire just has a wonderful blue coloration. So again, we're making sure we get those stems off of there. I'm going to go in the back in front of my silver fir. And I'm just going to trim away a little bit of this so that I can get those. And again, I might use my knife then to clean this up a little bit. The thing about this, I remember, being in the flower shop, we would, there's a proficiency that starts to come with evergreen. And your first couple of arrangements for the season were always, a little bit of a struggle because you were getting back into the method of working with the evergreen. And so, once you got into that method and got skilled with it, then you would be better for the year. Now, okay, so here's another fragrance that I'm completely in love with, and it's the sugar pine or the princess pine, okay? And that princess pine has yet another unique fragrance that is all its own. And so it can also kind of go over the front. Now, the cool thing about the princess pine is it's typically pre-stripped, you know, so that's pretty good. I like that. You don't have to strip it as much as you do the other ones. Okay. I have a little bit more of the cedar. And I'm just going to tuck a piece of it back here. Let's go around. Because, you know, here's the other thing. I want to be able to set this on the middle of a table so that you can appreciate it from any side that you're looking at. I don't want a back. And so that, you know, that silver, that's an interesting thing with that silver. Now, here's the other type of evergreen that we're going to use. And this is a buried incense cedar. And it's really pretty too. I want one piece of it right here in the front. See those kind of limey greeny berries that are on that? I think that's so pretty. And then we're going to use the other pieces for topping. I think, maybe we're going to stick one in the middle right now, so that we have a little bit more texture. And I think where I saw I needed it was right here. Okay. Oh, look at how great that looks, right? That's perfect. That's perfect. Okay. All right. So now we're ready to add our flowers. And again, we've got those stems down inside there. We stripped away all of the foliage on them so that they're not going to create bacteria in the water. That's super important. And we're going to start with one of my favorite things for the holidays is a little bit of the winterberry. Okay. Ilex. Look at that. Isn't it pretty? And those are going to go in the center of our bouquet. So they're also kind of a part of the structure of what we're going to create. Okay. Wow, look at that. Look how great that looks. And it's pretty from both sides. Remember, always keep checking if this is going to be an arrangement that's going to go in the middle of a table. Keep checking to make sure that it's always pretty on the other side. Okay. So now we're going to add our red carnations. And here's a little trick about my red carnations. Just picked them up the other day. They're super fresh. What I'm going to do is I'm just using my hand to gently open them up a little bit and just get them started to opening. I'm going to remove any foliage that's going to fall below the water line. I'm going to add those next to one another. Okay. I'm going to spin it around over here. Now, remember too that working with our flowers, even at Christmas time, as we're arranging these, it's creating health and wellness benefits for us. We are releasing endorphins as we arrange these flowers. That makes us feel more relaxed, more zen-like. I bent my stem. So if you bend your stem, you got to cut it again because the water's not going to get up that bend in the stem. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. So you got to give it another cut. Okay. I think I need a couple more red here. I love that people are falling in love with carnations all over again. I think that it's so great. Because, you know, for a long time they'd fallen out of favor. And now they're back and people love them. Next, we're going to add some peppermint carnations. I love a peppermint carnation because I just think it looks very festive and very holiday-like. They're a little different. The varieties now are slightly different than when I was a kid. There was a variety when I was a kid that had real strong stripes. It almost looked like a zebra because it was that striped. You know, they were big fat stripes. This one I think is called peppermint lace, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, I have a little bent one. And look, he's going to be short like this. So he's going to be a short one. So I'm going to need to remember to use him and put him in a little vase in the bathroom. That will be perfect for him. That's where he's going to go. But they used to have a big fat stripe like a zebra. This one's called peppermint lace, I believe, and it has more of a lacy type edge. This one's actually even a different one. Look at how red that one is compared to this one. There's just different varieties of carnations and they behave differently. And I think that that's so important to have different varieties to choose from. And so this is pretty. I mean, you know, you could stop here for me and that would be just dandy with just those carnations. They're going to last a long time. They're going to, you know, they're going to be wonderful like that. I'm going to grab a couple more. I want one more down here close in front on this side. See, I grouped those two together like that. And I think that that's pretty fun. Okay. And you know what? I really probably need one right back here on this side. So I'm going to grab one more. Grab one more. I was talking to my friend Jessica at Dram the other day, and I just love this compact printers. It's one of my favorite tools. It's just so great because it has such precision cutting. I think that's so nice. So now I'm going to add a little bit of red hypericum. I think this is so great because it looks like Christmas ornaments, right? It's got beautiful little, it's like ornaments together. And it's a great contrast and companion to the winterberry. You know, our winterberry's up top there, looking so great. And we're going to do these down low. And that way, we've got that berry texture towards the bottom of our arrangement as well. That's cute. My hands are sticky and they smell so good, but they're sticky because they have the sap on them. And I'm gonna have to watch that I don't get it on my vase, but I have a trick. I'll show you about that in just a few seconds. So not a few minutes. So we have our green vase, right? So I'm going to add green Fujimums. This is a Fujimum called Anastasia. I think she was one of the Wicked Stepsisters, maybe. But you know, this is a pretty flower, though. And I'm sure that there are other people named Anastasia who are not Wicked Stepsisters. So that's just my apologies to anyone named Anastasia. If I hurt your feelings, I didn't mean to. I just like to have those in there because that lime green makes those other colors bubble up. Okay, that's what it does. That's one of the things that it does. Now, the other thing I'm noticing is as I'm going in here, it's starting to get tight because I'm pushing everything down. So this is where I come, you know, that loosening technique I taught you about. I loosened everything up again right now. That's really super helpful to give everybody a little looseness because that got everybody going a little bit. Okay, then we have some pretty little green pom-poms. Originally, these guys were, I think the original name for the green pom-pom, the very first variety that came out was Yoko Ono. Then they decided that there were some people that didn't really, you know, take to the Yoko Ono name. And so they came up with one called Kermit because everybody loves Kermit the Frog. And as what happens with varieties, I think it's just so interesting is that they sometimes they don't produce as well after a little period of time. And so we have to do different varieties. And so I'm not even sure what these varieties are, what their names are, but you know, but if you said a Kermit pom-pom to somebody, they would probably know exactly what that is. So now we've got our topping. These are our topping pieces. And I'm just going to go along and I'm going to use them around the vase and also up into the bouquet to help create that collar of foliage around the outside that gives us a little bit of interest and dimension to our bouquet. So I'm just using those as edging around here. And they look great. It just kind of adds to that. Now, I think it would be fun to add, I'm going to make you shorter. I'm This is the one thing that I always do, and I encourage you to do it as well. If you see a better place for something as you're making your bouquet, go ahead and change it. That's great. That's not a problem. So I thought, I want a couple interesting things so that when you're looking at this bouquet, you're like, oh, look at that. Isn't that fun? Oh, look at on this side of the bouquet. That's very interesting. And I still have some hedge apples. And so I'm going to put a hedge apple on a stick. And I saw the spot for it. Oh, it's right here. Okay. And so I'm going to take that hedge apple and I'm going to put it right in there. It's like a little present, right? How cute is that? Okay. And then the other day I did a demonstration where I showed you how to make these beautiful little, these great little ribbon roses. For a second there, I couldn't talk. It's all good. Okay, I'm going to take the little tails on my ribbon roses, and they're going to be like this, and I'm just going to cut them so they're pretty. And then I'm going to take my ribbon rose, I'm going to tuck it down in there. Look at what a great little, now it looks kind of like crafted, handcrafted, and a little more fun. Isn't that really, just think it's great to bring in a different element and have it be part of the arrangement. You know, this doesn't need any water or anything, so it can just be tucked in here. And I have a red carnation down inside here. I'm gonna pull this guy out because he got buried. Oh, he was buried inside there. We're gonna replace him in the middle with that beautiful rose. And then I can get him out here on the outside where I'm gonna be able to see him better, okay? So now look at that. Isn't that fun? The one thing I need, it's over here. I gotta grab it. Excuse me while I depart for half a sec, and I'll be back. My Kreisel Professional Glory, okay? This is super helpful because our houses are dry in the winter, okay? We go through our humidity really quickly, and so we want to make sure that we mist everything with the Kreisel Professional Glory. It's going to help seal everybody in place. Okay, so I told you about my trick. So now I have hands on my sap. I probably might have a little sap on my floor too down here because I keep dropping that. And so it's really hard because sap is hard to get off your hands, right? But I have a secret. So here is my paper towel. And if I am concerned about my vase, that I got my vase sticky at all, I'm going to spray a little bit of Kreisel Leaf Shine on my paper towel, and I'm just going to rub it around on my vase to make sure I get all the sap off. Because the thing about this Kreisel Leaf Shine is that it's a pure vegetable base. And when I put it on my hands with that sap in there, and then I rub it like this, in the good way that we know how to wash our hands now, getting everybody all done, and then take my paper towel and I wipe it off, it takes off all of that sap. Gone. It's all on my paper towel. Okay? So now I have none of that stickiness. I'm not going to stick to stuff. You know, you've watched National Lampoon's Vacation and Chevy Chase is like all stuck to the papers and everything. I'm not going to be stuck to anything now, okay? Because it's all taken care of. Everything's done. So now you have a beautiful little arrangement like this that you could set on the table and enjoy for the holidays. And we've got our little surprises, our little ribbon roses out of burlap, our hedge apple, our Osage orange that's in there, and all of the different stuff to wish ourselves a little happy holiday. So I hope you enjoyed it. And until next time, keep having fun with flowers.